Megavon and friends, welcome to another episode of the Lord of the Wrongs podcast, the only Tolkien podcast the professor himself would dismiss as juvenile and crass. My name's Dan Zerby, and I'm here with the Meriadoc to my peregrine, Sean Kelly, and together we will... yeah, I gave you the better Hobbit. And
thanks.
Yeah, you got it, man. And together we'll be discussing the news, writings, adaptations, games, everything. You guys, you've heard the intro before. We're talking about the Legendarium.
Unless they haven't.
Unless this is the first episode you're listening to, in which case, hi, welcome, guy. Or gal, or whatever, you know. Hi, we're just glad you're listening.
Well, this is a bit of a return to form. Zerb.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, last episode on Tom Bombadil was pretty good, and I think we gotta we gotta get back to our goofy bits and shit.
Yeah, we can't just leave all the goofs up to Tolkien himself.
No.
So
I mean, he's done very little in the past 40 years, which is not a criticism, it's just an observation.
Yeah, and it's
not his fault.
It's a bummer. I bet Tolkien would have been big on meme pages, but speaking of memes and all that,
yeah,
we've got to check ourselves into the correction corner here.
Yeah, we sure do. It's my turn this week.
Yeah.
So I officially humble myself before the great audience that we have of the Lord of the Rings podcast.
Prostrate.
Yeah. Okay. I'm so sorry. So yeah, my Tolkien fun fact last week was, I feel like it started off pretty good, but I got greedy there at the end. So I started off by saying that the Old Forest, just west of just east of the Shire, was inspired by Sherwood Forest.
That's
from Robin Hood Men in Tights. From Robin Hood Men in Tights. I mean, that's where it really...
less believable.
It's significantly less believable. Yeah. I mean, Mel Brooks did have some movies out while Tolkien was around, so he might have been a Mel Brooks fan. I don't really know. I don't think he was a big movie buff, though. So...
Yeah, I'm pretty sure History of the World Part 1 inspired some of his
definitely
works, but
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, well, you can't win them all, Zerb. We'll just have to get them next time around.
Yeah, next time around.
but you fessed up. And
I did, and now I feel really good. I feel like a weight's been lifted off my shoulders, and that we can proceed with the episode as planned.
Well, let's put a weight back on your shoulders, and you can bear the topic of the One Ring, which is what we're going to be talking about today.
It sure is. Yeah, we're going to be discussing the One Ring, everyone's favorite piece of minimalist jewelry.
I mean, I don't know if it's I guess if you see it's probably your favorite.
I guess it's not minimalist in general, just its appearances. It's just a plain gold band, not dissimilar to your standard wedding ring, except it marries you to the Wraith world, I guess. If you're immortal,
and sort of a large chunk of a spirit of pretty much undying evil, but besides that, it's pretty minimalist.
Yeah, that's right. It contains the essence of an incredibly powerful and deathless being, bent on world domination, but it's pretty simple
and pretty from what everybody says.
I mean, well, that everybody does say that it is just a plain gold ring, and yet several times through through Lord of the Rings, it's mentioned story. It's beautiful, it's perfect. There's not a scratch on it, not a mar. It is. It's very, very precious. Anyway, So yeah, we're talking about the ring today.
So, why don't we just start off with how it was made? I mean,
Yeah, so I mean, those of you who've watched the first season of Rings of Power know how incredibly rushed
to get there.
yeah, how incredibly rushed that the making of the Elvish rings were. So yeah, as you probably know if you've seen the movies, all these rings were made around the same time. You know, we have the 3 Elvish rings of power. We have 7 rings of power for the dwarves and 9 rings of power for men. And then there's just the one, which is kind of the boss of the other rings, excluding the Elvish rings. They're like kind of on the same management level, though, in a certain way, because, you know,
he can't control them because he doesn't know who's wearing them or like where they are. He just can't see them.
And Sauron had a hand in creating all of the rings except for the 3 Elvish rings. He taught that skill to Celebrimbor, but he didn't have any part of their making, so he doesn't have control over them. So yeah. So he made the one ring to dominate all the other rings.
Yeah, that was.
I guess that's the end of the episode, right? That's pretty much.
Yeah, that about sums it up.
And that's about it.
He, and that was basically his, obviously his plan all along. But I mean, he was basically just seeking to. That was like his big gambit, because he spread them throughout all the free peoples and then wanted to use the power of the One Ring to, obviously dominate all the other ones. But the only way he could do that was by pouring a bunch of his own spirit into the One Ring.
A lot of his power. I mean, most of his power goes into that ring. Which is why when Isildur cuts it off at the end of the Second Age, he goes away for a good long time.
Yeah, he isn't killed. Obviously.
No, he can't really be killed because he's a spirit. I mean, he's a Maya, so he can't be killed exactly. He can be dealt with.
I mean,
but he can't kill a spirit that's helped sing the world into existence. So,
I mean, so he had already been sort of after he got crushed underneath the entire ocean. Spoiler for Rings of Power.
Spoilers for Rings of Power. Yeah. I mean, the Silmarillion's been out for nearly 40 years. I don't think that counts as a spoiler.
Yeah. We should just have a spoiler warning for just the whole story. It's assumed. But anyway, he was crushed beneath the waves, and so he lost the ability to, have his fair form anymore. Right. And then when Isildur cut the ring from his hand, now we just get the sort of goth, badass metal Sauron.
Yeah, member of Gwar Sauron.
He sort of lost his ability to become corporeal again, especially, like once the ring was removed from him. So
yeah, he had to gather power back to him again before he could take actual physical shape.
Yeah.
Once again. Which by the way, I know in, the Peter Jackson movies, we see him only as this like giant flaming eyeball on top of the Tower of Barad-dûr. But he is actually like he has a body again.
He's just a guy.
Yeah, we just never see. He just doesn't show up. He just lets everybody do his talking for him, basically.
Yeah, which I mean, I guess it's
see a smart why. Play, really. Yeah. I mean, he is weak. He does not have the ring, and that still is most of his power. So
yeah, I can see why they added the big eye in the movies because it's
right. You needed
pretty
something
hard.
Yeah. You need something to represent, like, the antagonist of the three films.
Yeah, just something, because he's completely, you just never see him in the books.
Yeah, he never shows up,
which is like an interesting literary choice, but it works in a way. It's like you're seeing his hand the whole time.
Right, yeah. Well, it gives him a lot of mystery, and it makes him a little scarier because you don't know what he looks like. You don't know what form he's in exactly. We don't know, so it adds that mystery and makes him a little, adds to the feeling of, not that he's omnipotent, but he could be, because you don't know, it's like how powerful really is he, because we don't see him at any point.
And so I guess that's part of the only reason really that the ring is so powerful is because of his spirit. I mean, as we said, it was just a golden band. It didn't have mithril or any sort of gem or anything on it except for the inscription upon it, which
you only see when it's hot, when it's exposed to fire or Sauron's burning hand.
Which is, once again, pretty metal.
I mean, most of the imagery around Sauron is pretty fucking metal.
So, from memory, I believe the inscription reads, Ashnazg.
Oh, you're doing the dark speech?
Yeah. Sorry. Bro. Uttering it in my own home here. Ashnazg Dubertaluk, Ashnazg Gimpatul, Ashnazg something.
Oh, damn it. I'm trying to get it. I'm like...
Ashi... something about Kashi the cereal. We probably shouldn't read the whole thing anyway, so it plays into our favor. But what it basically, it's the inscription that you've probably all heard. It's one ring to rule them all, one ring to...
Man, you were pretty close, by the way.
It's
what? Yeah,
Ashnazg
Dubertaluk, Ashnaz Gimbatur, Ashnaz Thrakatluk. Yeah, these are very difficult to pronounce.
I always forget the last one.
It's Ag Burzum Ishi Krimpatur.
Ag Burzum Ishi Krimpatur. Yeah. Which
one ring to rule them all, one ring to find them, one ring to bring them all, and in the darkness bind them. There you go.
And
you guys know it. You've seen the movie.
Yeah.
You've seen the first minute of Fellowship of the Ring.
Ian McKellen's read on that is just so hardcore.
I know, it's so great when he says it in Bag End to Frodo, and it's just that smash cut to Frodo packing his bags is so great.
But it's really interesting too, because the Black Speech is just Tolkien sort of made it to be like a harsh sounding language to the Western ear, and
hard to pronounce, and a very rough to hear.
Yeah, sort of scary, but it's written in Tengwar, which is the Elvish script, and it's a really beautiful written language. So
it's just gorgeous. Yeah,
there's a lot of weird sort of
Sauron didn't come up. Yeah, he didn't come up with his own characters for his language, so
I believe somewhere it said it was the only thing fine enough to put on the and like fit on the ring.
Oh, yeah, just practically, it was a good choice.
Yeah, but
it's hard to put runes on there too. It's like that's a lot of words to fit around a relatively small piece of jewelry.
Yeah, so just wrote it in like this kind of skinny script, and I mean, clearly it worked because he
Yeah.
turned like 9 dudes into walking wraiths.
Yeah, it sure did. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yep.
as we've mentioned before, it dominated the men. The dwarves were he could control them on some level, but they were mostly corrupted by their rings. And so like nobody,
It didn't
none of
really
them had
corrupt.
them.
Yeah, it didn't corrupt the dwarves like anybody else. I mean, they didn't fall to those rings. I mean, what those rings did is just kind of for the dwarves is bring out like the less savory aspects
Greed,
of like
mostly.
the dwarvish culture and personality. Yeah, it's like you become more greedy, basically.
Um, and then like we said, the elves, he just couldn't dominate them, but it's only because he didn't know where they were, and they were powerful enough to resist him. But if he found out, where they were, he could have taken control of the elves.
I don't think that's correct, sir.
No, it is because
Where does it say that?
they I think that when they're in Lorien, they're talking about how if like Sauron doesn't know where they are. I mean, the elves, the elven rings lost their power once the One Ring was destroyed. If they were
Correct.
completely independent, they would have.
Well, right, they weren't
continued.
completely independent, but I don't think Sauron didn't have like control over those rings. Like those rings wouldn't corrupt the elves in and of themselves.
I don't.
Because he didn't.
I mean, I don't know
He didn't
if
have
he
a hand
could
in
have
their making. So
Yeah, but that just means it had less control, and he also just didn't know of their existence for a while, and then he didn't know where they were. But I believe Galadriel says Galadriel or somebody, great. If I had like an ebook, I would look this up. But I
know.
don't.
I was saying, like, I should get an ebook version. It would be way faster. You can just kind of search.
Yeah, but they basically are, worried that, like, if Sauron finds out where they are, he could dominate them from afar, basically. Like, he could just bend all his will on those people, but, agree to disagree about this
Yeah.
small point.
Well,
of
if
lore.
you have some insight and you'd like to share it with us to be shared in a later episode, please write us an email to lordofthewrongspodcast@gmail.com. And
yeah, please do.
Please also send page numbers, cite your sources.
If we can figure out the answer on our own, then whoever is wrong will have to submit it to Correction Corner next episode. That's the deal.
Yeah.
So
yeah, Galadriel doesn't really
anyway.
get very specific. I'm looking at the Mirror of Galadriel chapter where she shows Frodo that she does in fact wear Nenya, one of the elven rings, but it doesn't really get very specific on anything other than she is the keeper of Nenya, and Sauron suspects, but he does not know, not yet. And then says, if you succeed, our power is diminished. But other than that, it doesn't.
Well,
she doesn't get very specific here.
I don't know. I'm looking on some wiki, and it does say that when Sauron created the One Ring, the elves who wore the rings
were aware of him. Yeah,
heard his voice and realized they had been deceived and took off their rings.
Right. Yes.
Until they defeated him at the end of the Second Age, and then they were safe to wear them.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows? We'll figure that out later. But anyway,
as I say, yeah, we'll cover all this if necessary in Correction Corner.
So the One Ring, obviously can't be destroyed except for in the fire of Mount Doom. Cause
sorry, Gimli, your axe might be of dwarf make, but it's no match for the One Ring.
And not gonna cut it. unfortunately.
Literally, like it's literally not going to cut it. It's literally and figuratively not going to cut it.
But did you want to talk about the powers of the One Ring? Because that is open to speculation, I would say.
Yeah, so it's very interesting, actually. I didn't really even consider this. So if you're a mortal person and you put on the ring, as we know, you turn invisible. You know, you kind of you are visible to the Wraith world, and you are also still kind of obviously in the regular world because you're walking around. So yeah, that's really what happens if you're mortal. If you were, say, Gandalf and you put the ring on, I don't believe it would make you invisible because he's not really he's not immortal. He's not like, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make Sauron invisible. Yeah.
Right, he's a Maya. It would corrupt him. I mean, it'll corrupt any who possess
pretty much
it, obviously.
Without fail.
Yeah, I mean, the only person. There's no one it wouldn't corrupt. I mean, you could. I suppose one could argue that the Valar could like resist corruption of the ring since they have more power than.
Yeah.
But again, they're staying out of this one for the most part, anyway.
Yeah, and Bombadil didn't care, but
yeah, Bombadil didn't care, but
he's just an enigma. He's weird in every way.
I was gonna say, yeah, that's we went into that last episode, and yeah, Tom Bombadil doesn't count. He doesn't count because he's just not. He's not that kind of guy. Literally, we don't know what kind of guy he is exactly, but he's not that kind of guy. He's not all that troubled by the ring.
No, as with most earthly matters. But when Sauron infused the ring with his spirit, he
I don't know why I said it like that, but it was.
I don't know. It's just a weird emphasis, I guess. But it basically was it picked up a portion of his will, and that's why it corrupts and tempts. It's not like, I mean, the ring itself,
it's not his raw power. It's his it's like his power and his will combined. Which is why, because again, if it were just his power, then somebody like Gandalf or Galadriel or even Aragorn could actually probably wield it without being corrupted. But since it's part of him, it's part of Sauron, so there's no you can't strain out the evil.
Yeah, it's just sort of tainted, which it's kind of the same as once again, as with most things Sauron did, it's sort of Morgoth's or Melkor's like a small version of Melkor. Yeah. Melkor's ring was the earth, and he corrupted it, and it was could never be fully cleansed of that evil.
Right.
And Sauron's great work was the rings, and he corrupted the One Ring, and once again, can never cleanse to that.
Yeah, obviously the inspiration for Horcruxes in the Harry Potter world. Like most everything in Harry Potter, is basically kind of a pale imitation of things that you see in Lord of the Rings. Not to just shit on Harry Potter. I've enjoyed Harry Potter.
Yeah, well, it's like it's like the fun kids version.
Yeah, there's very few fantasy stories after Tolkien that weren't inspired by Tolkien, so.
Yeah, he's the granddaddy.
He sure is. He's the OG, really.
So, Zerby, I've got something coming down the line here.
What is it? What is it?
It looks like
what's on its way? I can't tell.
We've alleged an allegory here.
Have we?
I don't know how to intro this segment, but
it's an alleged allegory segment.
Yeah, Tolkien, famously didn't like allegory except for that one time that he wrote one.
Except for Leaf by Niggle. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he didn't like allegory in his fairy stories.
No, he did not.
That's
he wanted them to stand on their own. Yeah.
Yeah. And but in this case, he did have sort of an allegorical, thing going on with the ring. So I noticed that there's basically one big, metaphor of the ring for Sauron being married to his work.
Listen, of Sauron's many faults, he's a workaholic.
Yeah, I mean, he can't just compartmentalize. He can't just leave his work at home.
He's just not really spending time with his Nazgul the way he used to.
And all of his distant orc family.
Yeah, they're like all latchkey kids. All the Nazgul and orcs are latchkey kids because Daddy's got to stay at the office late tonight again. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, he just sits the Witch King down in front of the iPad and just.
Also, the idea of Sauron referring to himself as Daddy is very funny too.
Yeah, that's. Whenever he's like communicating through his mental assaults to try to dominate other people's minds, it's like Daddy's here.
Don't make Daddy angry.
Yikes! Just
you just wait till Daddy gets home.
Yeah, so I think Tolkien just thought of Sauron and everybody else. Just take a vacation. Take a little break.
Not all about work. You gotta live your life.
Yeah, I mean, what are you working for if not to enjoy it? I don't think Sauron ever takes a vacation. Well, he does go to Numenor, but he turns it into a work thing. He turns it into a work thing.
Yeah, once again, he's like, you know what? I know I'm supposed to be just tanning, but I could get some really good corruption done right now here.
I think I could sway the people of this island to worship Melkor,
Yeah.
Yeah, so, famously, just a relaxed...
No rest for the wicked. Literally, no rest for the wicked.
Oh, yeah. Look at that.
And wicked he is.
Yeah.
But not for the reasons you're thinking of. It's because he's not spending time with his family and his kids.
No, it makes sense. All the other Ainur.
Yep. All right. Well, that's definitely an allegory that Tolkien definitely intended. So.
Yeah, I think it was intentional.
Definitely.
I haven't found proof on any of his interviews or anything, but I'm sure it's intentional.
Yeah. Well, there's not all that many, really. So
yeah, I'll keep sifting through the letters for it. But.
Yeah.
What else have we got on the ring? I mean, one thing I wanted to ask, what do you think? So, the invisibility thing has always gotten me, because Gandalf says that rings grant power in accordance with the stature of the person wearing it, right?
Right. Correct. Yeah. But
the only things, besides Sauron that we ever see wear the ring are hobbits.
Well, Isildur.
Does he wear it though?
Oh yeah.
I thought he just.
That's how he initially escapes from the orc ambush. But as he's swimming across the Anduin, it flips off his finger. He becomes visible, and they just riddle him with arrows.
Yeah.
But yeah, he does put it on. And he says that it causes him great pain to put it on, because when he pulls it off of Sauron's finger, it burns the shit out of his hand. It's hot as a gleed, as it says in
such a good word.
I know gleed. It's like, so if you guys don't know, a gleed is it's an ember. It's an archaic word for ember, or a burning coal or something.
And it just sounds way more fun. I feel like gleed should be used in any Christmas application.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely.
But Either
Several
way,
spellings of Gleed too, which I would normally say this is a useless tangent, but like Tolkien was a philologist, so I think it's fine talking about word nerdy shit.
yeah, true.
But yeah, there are several spellings of this word, but yeah, that's what it means. It's an ember or a coal.
Yeah, fun fact for you today, and
Yeah.
that's an actual
And that's
fact.
that's a real fact that we won't have to correct next episode.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean,
So the invisibility thing, what?
so I don't know. I was just curious, like, what what level do you think it confers? And like, would Gandalf be invisible?
I would expect no. I would expect the invisibility thing is only for those who wear the ring if they're mortal.
Yeah.
So, like, if Aragorn were to wear the ring, he would also be invisible. Isildur became invisible.
Yeah, but like the elves.
See, that's a great question. That's a good question. I don't know, because they are free peoples and they are alive, so they're not.
Yeah, they have corporeal.
It's like they're immortal.
bodies.
Yeah, they're immortal, but they are, or they're serial longevity is what they have. I guess not technically immortality,
we could just
yeah.
say immortal
for
argument's
our
sake.
purposes. Yeah. But because they are like people, it's. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's a good question. Would an elf turn invisible? Shit, that's a really good question. I don't know.
I mean, I would think so. Yeah, but you could probably.
I would guess yes, but
yeah, just because they sort of have mortal bodies almost.
Yeah, but they do have immortal souls.
Well, it's just one of those things.
Damn it, that's a really tough question. I have no idea what the answer to that is.
Tolkien, well, I don't think any of us do. His magic and everything like that is just such a soft magic system that you just don't like. There's no crunchy
it's not like in say Harry Potter where you say a spell and a laser beam comes out of a wand. It's not it's not like that. Yeah, you're right. Like, it's far more subtle.
Even Harry Potter is like a somewhat soft magic system, just because there isn't like an associated cost and like exact limits that you can see. But Tolkien's yeah, I guess if you don't know the difference in fantasy, there's soft and hard magic is sort of like range of how that works, and it's sort of like how just sort of like how well defined is the mechanics and like how quantifiable is magic would be like harder. And
soft magic is also my stripper name, by the way.
Ooh.
I don't get a lot of customers. If I was hard magic, it'd be better, but I already
I can see.
Actually, hard magic is a pretty Hard magic sound like the name of hard magic sounds like the name of a softcore porn that you would have seen on like Showtime back in the
both of them sound
or so.
Both of them sound great, but there's like something off about both.
Oh yeah.
And I don't think like medium magic really does it either.
Medium magic.
Do you mean like you can talk to the dead, or like it's like no, I'm just somewhere in the middle.
So I'm like I can talk to dogs. They can't talk back to me though. I can't. They can understand me, but I can't understand them. So
yeah, like I can fly, but only like as long as a normal person can jump.
Right. Yeah, I can fly, but only as high as I can jump. So it's medium magic. It's not really all that impressive.
Yeah. But I lost my train of thought.
I'm so sorry. That was all me. The grades of magic. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, that provides us a good segue then, I guess, into the sponsor we have lined up, who is going to be providing the rings for our adaptation in 2050 or so. We've
So there's a Mad Men of the West segment.
Yeah.
It's
the Mad Men of the West.
Yeah,
I forget because we don't have a stinger.
Yeah, I gotta. I'll record some music for that.
We'll figure out how to.
Eventually, this will sound like a professional podcast.
We'll figure out how to just sort of edge into copyright infringement for Mad Men.
Yeah,
but for now, we've got K Jewelers. As our potential sponsor down the road.
Yeah, assuming they're still in business by the time we
we just assume everybody's still in business by then.
Yeah, we have to. I mean, how else are we going to make our money in this adaptation that we're eventually going to do? That's just selling off the Legendarium piecemeal. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, that's kind of the point of this whole thing. But I've got for K Jewelers. I mean, the sponsorship seems obvious, the opportunity, but I've got a couple taglines lined up, and I just wanted to run them by you.
All right, let's see what you got. Let's because again, the whole point is to sell stuff so that we can make our money. So, what are some of your slogans? Let's hear it. I'm tired of working for free.
All right. Take it easy. I'm not. Every kill begins with K.
Yeah.
How about that? I mean, that's like, it seemed over the plate, but it's not very specific.
It's not. I mean, if some dastardly hobbit has taken possession of your ring, you're gonna have to kill him.
Yeah, no, like I'm not saying it's not present or involved. It's just not very specifically,
right,
Lord of the Rings related.
Yeah.
How about every Witch King has a K? I mean,
I really like that one. Actually, that's very good.
The syllables don't really work with with that, but. And it's not at the beginning, so I couldn't do, every Witch King begins with K, because...
Every Witch King has a K,
Yeah, he does, yeah.
Because they're our sponsor. They made all of our rings, and he's got a ring.
And then last, I've got every kinslaying begins with K.
They'll also be providing us with the Silmarils.
Yes, the Silmarils
for our inevitable Silmarillion adaptation.
You know, K Jewelers. You could just run down there and grab 3 peerless gems who capture the light of the 2 trees, and
they glow with their own light. Yeah,
cause basically every major event in the First Age.
Yeah.
So
it has ramifications into the Second and Third Age too. So
yeah, either way, we've got something they can use.
Yeah,
and
again, we'll talk about the full ramifications of the Silmarils. That's going to be a special too. That's a special for sure. That's going to be minimal hour and a half episode. But we're going to kick that ring down the river.
Yeah, let's kick that ring down the river. Hey,
yeah.
It's coming in handy now.
Finally using our shorthand. Very well done, Sean. That's our shorthand for, we'll talk about that in a different episode for those of you who might have missed that in whichever episode we decided that was happening.
Yeah. Well, that's the last time we're explaining it. Otherwise, it's not shorthand. It's self-explanatory.
Yeah.
All right. So...
Yeah.
Anything else you wanted
King has a K. That's pretty good.
I mean, we've covered a good amount of the ring. Oh, so another thing I wanted to mention was the weight of the ring.
Yeah, that's a good. That's a good aspect of the ring we haven't touched on. Yeah, the weight of it.
Something you don't get as much in the movies because it's not like explicitly mentioned.
Yeah,
like, it seems more like metaphorical in the movies, but it's physical.
Yeah, it's definitely you're physically feeling the weight if you're bearing the ring. I mean, we see when I mean, obviously the closer you get to Mordor, the closer you get to Mount Doom where the ring was made, the heavier it gets, which is something that Sam observes when he thinks Frodo is dead in the Pass of Cirith Ungol and takes the ring, and he is like, "Oh wow, yeah, he wasn't exaggerating. This is pretty heavy."
Yeah, he puts
Paraphrasing,
it
but
on the with the chain on his neck, and it literally like his head like almost hits the ground. Yeah, that's how heavy it was.
Oh,
he wasn't expecting this tiny ring to be
yeah.
much of a burden to bear, but I liked that in the book because it does make Frodo just seem like way more of a badass that he's just been carrying this thing.
There is a and in the movie it does seem like Frodo's just kind of whining a bit. It's like, it's so heavy, Sam.
Yeah.
Like, all right, just keep going though, right? But yeah, in the books you really do understand like, oh yeah, this is an actual weight
burden
on him. Yeah. So do we think that like if they had a scale that like the weight of the ring after they've crossed the Ethel Duath cross those mountains of shadow, like the ring gets significantly heavier. So do you think that if they put the ring on a scale on like the plains of Gorgoroth versus how much it weighed in Bag End in the Shire, do you think there would actually be a difference?
So I think it would either A, have to be a sentient scale named I don't know, Scaly or something. And
Scaly
he's
the
like,
scale, sure. Little South Park woodland Christmas, but I like it.
And it was just like, give me the ring, and then you put it on there. I think it would have to bear the increased weight. But if you if you plopped it on a regular scale, I think it would just weigh the same no matter what.
I think it would weigh the same. Yeah, I think it's kind of like it's similar to like, okay, so this has been a question: is the ring is it sentient? Like, does it have a will of its own? And the answer is no. But it does have a will of Sauron. It does have Sauron's will in it.
Yeah,
so that's why it
has a will.
Because
which a ring shouldn't.
Generally speaking, yeah. But we know it like changes size. Like that's something that we know it does do.
It rolls away treacherously. It changes size to like fall off.
Yeah,
of somebody's that's like why they keep it on the chain.
Yeah, it intentionally slipped off of Isildur's finger as he is, in the Gladden Fields.
Just trying to get back to Daddy.
Yeah, gotta get back to Daddy. So I think it's like if you were to put it on a scale, I think you're right. I don't think that the weight would differ, but the closer you get to its birthplace.
I guess the better question is if you had a Frodo and he was holding the ring and otherwise was of constant weight.
Yeah,
and you weighed him in Bag End and in Mordor, would it be a physical weight change, or is it just something that's only perceivable by the bearer?
I think it's only perceivable by the bearer. I don't think that like a mechanical
virtual
scale, whether it was digital or if it was like an actual old-fashioned scale that they would have had in medieval type of era. Yeah, I don't think you would see you wouldn't be able to see a weight difference. I don't think
it would have to be a scale that
feel the weight difference. Yeah,
read emotional weight.
Right. Yeah, like psychic weight. Yeah.
Sort of like a scale that like you're watching Marley and Me, and it just keeps getting heavier.
Yeah, heavier and heavier until the end where it's just unbearable.
Or you're watching a Pixar movie and it gets like super heavy for like the first 10 minutes and then the last 10 minutes. But otherwise it's just like super light.
Fuck you, Up.
Yeah, that's right.
How dare you make me cry?
We're taking a hard stance against Up. That's the podcast. Yeah. That is our collective take on Up.
Yeah, that's right. We're taking Tolkien's side and the whole Disney thing. Screw you, Disney.
Yeah, I don't care about that stupid movie. It just
yeah.
Sorry, I was just thinking about it.
Yeah, so screw Disney and screw Marley and me.
Yeah, screw that dog.
Yeah.
So
anyway.
is there any are there any properties of the ring we missed that you can think of? I mean, we got it trying to roll around on its own.
Yeah. It can shrink and grow slightly enough to make it hard to wear.
The ring isn't sentient, but it's a dick, you know?
Yeah, that's a good way to say it. Yeah, it doesn't have a brain or anything, but it is an asshole. It's
just a tricksy little piece of jewelry jerk, and that's mostly stupid. That's on Sauron. Yeah, that's his fault. But
I think that covers it pretty good.
I think we did a decent job. If there's anything you can think of that we missed, Zerby, where do they find us?
They find us at no, it's not. It's Lord of the Wrongs podcast at gmail.com, or you can find us also on Instagram at Lord of the Wrongs podcast. Or is it Lord of the Rings pod? Lord of the Wrongs pod. Let me check.
I don't.
I've only made it a few days ago, so
it's funny. You are not as tech savvy as I am, but I am so social media illiterate at this point.
Yeah, it's Lord of the Wrongs podcast on Instagram. There you go.
Okay.
So check us out on Lord of the Wrongs podcast on Instagram. You can send us a message.
Yeah, they can slide into our DMs, right? Is that how that works?
Absolutely. You definitely can, and we want you to. Slide into our DMs. Or send us the email, whatever you want.
Yeah, that's right. Get in here, hot stuff. So, anyway, I guess it's time for me.
Yeah, it's time for
share a fun fact.
Time for a Tolkien fun fact. What do you have for us this episode, Sean? Off to a great start.
What I've got. When Tolkien was originally writing the Lord of the Rings and was coming up with the ring wraiths, they were originally going to just be big crows.
Ooh, fascinating.
Yeah, they like shiny things.
They sure do.
Never forget a face.
Indeed.
They are carrion eaters, but they also eat other stuff. That's just a crow fact.
They're capable of spite. It all kind of tracks.
I don't want to say that crows are wholly evil, but I would say that those were going to be evil crows.
Yeah, probably pretty large as crows go, I'd imagine, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, like a 6-foot crow is...
God damn, all right, yeah.
I would say unusually large for a crow.
I would say so.
I don't know that many crows, but I don't think they're usually like 6-7 feet tall. But
none of the ones I know personally are that large. No.
But when he was writing out the whole story, he, like 9 rings for mortal crows doomed to die just didn't.
Yeah, it doesn't sound very good, does it? It's like, wait, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, he didn't want to change the poem, so he just worked backwards from there and figured out that then it just works better.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for that fun fact about that 100% true fact, John. That's
it's Unfinished Shells. Check it out.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess
Anyway.
with that, we can wrap up.
Let's just wrap up and we'll say Namarie. Join us next time, friends.
Namarie.